Son of a bitch, Paul, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Hello everyone, this is 17 Stages of Story, and you're watching the hero's journey breakdown for Happy Gilmore.
Who the hell is Happy Gilmore?
I love this movie, and one of the reasons I love this movie is that it hides some really fun symbolism behind the guise of wacky random comedy. So yeah, fair warning, I'm about to engage in some totally serious chin stroking about Happy Gilmore. I mean it.
Let's do it!
I usually try to keep these breakdowns from running long by only analyzing the aspects of the movie that help explain the way I build the golden path. But in this case, I want to talk a little bit more broadly about the symbolism, because it speaks directly to a few themes that are central to the hero's journey. Do I think the storytellers did all the things I think they did on purpose? I have no idea, but it's going to be fun to talk about. As always, I'll be walking through the movie's golden path, tracking the dominant stage of the hero's journey at any given time. I also like to reference other movies during these breakdowns, so check the description for spoilers. Finally, if you're looking for an introduction, then I suggest you start with What is the Hero's Journey, which is linked in the description below. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. Our story opens with a prologue that explains how Happy becomes the man-child we first meet. All of this is part of his ordinary world. His father loved hockey, so he does too. His mother, feeling neglected, just leaves. Which I think is an overlooked detail in a lot of movies about young men with father issues. So, let the chin stroking begin. Here we go. Luke Skywalker's missing mother isn't even mentioned until the third film.
I have no memory of my mother.
Maverick's mom died pining away for his dead father.
She died shortly after him.
And now, here, Happy Gilmore's mom just leaves.
My dad worshipped hockey. My mom didn't. That's why she moved to Egypt, where there's not a hockey rink within 1,500 miles.
But that's only kinda sorta right at best. But let's press on to see why. Happy's dad is killed by a rogue puck at a hockey game, not in a hockey game, because Dad isn't a hockey player, and the writers could have just as easily made him one. So why isn't he? He's not, to borrow from Theodore Roosevelt's speech, the man in the arena. He dies on the literal sidelines, living vicariously through the men who are in the arena, which is why his wife really leaves him. Now orphaned, it's off to Grandma's house, who is literally disguised as a man when we meet her. But it's not just any man. Happy says it's Gene Simmons, the lead singer of Kiss. And we all know what he means, but it's not Gene Simmons. It's his face-painted stage persona. It's a mask of a man in a mask. And unless you're a Kiss fan, you might not know that all their personas had names. And Gene Simmons' persona was called the Demon. The point is, Grandma Gilmore has to take on the role of both parents, which is traumatizing for a child. This, by the way, is when Happy starts developing his anger issues. Surprise, surprise. Happy goes out of his way to explain that he didn't inherit his temper from his father, but that negative trait has been transferred to the father figure of his old boss, Mr. Larson. He's a giant of a man whose wrath Happy incurs when he accidentally injures him. That theme, the son accidentally wounding the father, is why he's in the movie. But we'll come back to Mr. Larson later. Now, apparently, Happy's upbringing falls entirely on Grandma because Grandpa Gilmore had already died before Happy arrives. But Happy does end up using Grandpa's golf clubs to save the house that Grandpa built. And the movie makes sure you're aware of that.
My grandfather built this house with his bare hands. No, let me carry these, all right? They're my grandfather's. They're pretty old.
By the time we catch up to the present, we've learned that Happy has always been a terrible skater. He can't find his balance in this particular arena. But he also has a mean slap shot, which he learned from his father. Happy was taught to do the thing that killed his father by his father, a beat that the movie goes out of its way to repeat. After coming home from another failed tryout, Happy gets dumped by his girlfriend, Terry.
You're going nowhere, Happy, and you're taking me with you.
She's a kindergarten teacher who still finds Happy too immature. She calls him a directionless loser, which sends him running into the arms of a mother figure. Actually, a grandmother figure.
You know our breakfast?
So, with all that groundwork laid, how about we actually, get on with the 17 stages of story? The call to adventure sequence begins when the IRS repossesses Grandma's house. She hasn't been paying her taxes. He reassures Grandma, his real grandma, but he initially has no idea how to solve the problem. That's when the repo men start messing around with Grandpa's old clubs, and Happy discovers that his slap shot transfers over to golf. He realizes he can make a few bucks down at the driving range, but it doesn't seem like he's trying to earn the six-figure sum he needs to save the house. The call reaches its climax at the batting cages when a retired golfer, Chubbs Peterson, offers to help Happy turn pro.
So you're a hockey player, huh?
Yeah?
You gonna give that shit up? You gonna concentrate on golf?
This leads directly into refusal of the call.
No.
Here we learn that Chubbs, like Captain Hook in Peter Pan, had his hand eaten by an alligator. Now you might be thinking, there's a difference. In Peter Pan, it was Peter who cut off Hook's hand and then threw it to the crocodile. Oh, nope, there it is. Traditionally, the hand is a symbol of power, and in this context, the alligator represents our inevitable mortality. It's about the pain of the son surpassing the father as he grows into his own man. But there's a kind of fear of growing beyond your father. For one thing, it throws you into chaos. Everything is up to you now. It also kills your image of your father as an infallible hero, which isn't a fun experience for an unprepared father either, but we'll get back to that later. Now, Chubbs, to his credit, managed to gouge out one of the alligator's eyes, which he now carries around with him. And no, I don't think it's just so Happy can identify the one-eyed alligator. So we're gonna do it. Let's talk about alligators and eyeballs for a minute. If you go all the way back to ancient Egyptian mythology, there was this idea that when you die, your heart is weighed against the feather of Mayat, the goddess of truth, justice, morality, and, most importantly to this story, balance.
That's why she moved to Egypt, where there's not a hockey rink within 1,500 miles.
If your heart is not heavier than the feather, you pass the test and are allowed to enter the kingdom of Osiris, who, among other things, was the patriarchal god of life and resurrection. But if your heart is heavier than the feather, then it's fed to Ammit, a goddess with a crocodile's head. This destroyed the soul, leaving the dead unable to move on to the next world. In one of ancient Egypt's central myths, Osiris is murdered by his brother Set and chopped into pieces that are scattered across the land, except for one part that, in some versions of the story, is eaten by a crocodile. If you want to know what part, just think about the name Chubbs for a second. When Osiris's son, Horus, tries to take his revenge against Set, he loses an eye. The eye is later healed and returned to Horus, who then offers it to his father to sustain him in the afterlife. Here, in Happy Gilmore, the story seems to be a little different. Chubbs already has this extra eyeball, not from his son, but from the dragon that bit him. This is another common trope in mythology. And what does Chubbs do? He's the one who sees the potential in Happy. And finally, he's literally carrying around his baggage. This is the proverbial chip on his shoulder. If you think that's a stretch, well, just hang on and bear with me. We'll come back to this. For now, let's get back to the golden path. While Happy is refusing the call, notice that he's playing hockey with trash that he's pulled out of a garbage can. Yes, it's to show that Happy is obsessed with hockey, but if he had a hockey stick in his trunk, he could have just as easily had a street hockey ball in there with it, or at least some empty beer cans of his own. Happy's hockey is garbage. He's scraping the bottom of the barrel. After all of his objections, it only takes one line to change Happy's mind.
I thought you were pro material, trying to make the big bucks.
Cut to the picture of Grandma and you've got your supernatural aid. Happy then knocks over the garbage can he was just using to practice his slap shot. We go right into the Waterbury Open for our crossing the first threshold. It's a longer sequence filled with threshold guardians, shepherds, and sentinels. We see Happy's strengths and weaknesses.
Just tap it in.
It makes sense for the movie to make an investment here, because we're supposed to suspend our disbelief that this first-timer could go up against experienced players and win, which of course he does. This is where Chubbs asks Happy to take some time off before joining the Pro Tour, so he can flesh out the rest of his game. Now, golf is a metaphor for the qualities that Happy lacks: patience, discipline, maturity, and Happy, for reasons good and bad, declines.
No. I gotta go. I appreciate everything. Wish me luck.
In my introductory series, I described this moment as Happy opting out of the psychological reorientation that he needs to prevail.
Maybe the guy at the trophy store could put a little hockey guy on there.
To keep things simple, I said that he skips his belly of the whale and circles back to it later. But now let me complicate the picture. I am going to put belly of the whale on the golden path, and it starts when Happy goes into the bar and encounters a couple of threshold guardians. And yes, I'll keep doing this cantina gag until I get tired of it. This is where we get our first reference to the golden jacket,
That's a nice jacket.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? They give you one if you win the tour championship.
which is basically just the golden fleece, the mantle of kingly authority that Jason goes after in Greek mythology so he can reclaim his throne from his usurping uncle Peleus. I'd also say that there's a strong first threshold component to this sequence, but I'm going with Belly of the Whale because of this moment right here. He goes to a special place at a special time for a special ritual where he's doused with water. It's a baptism, a golf baptism. If you've seen me talk about Belly of the Whale before, you know that I'm big on the phrase psychological reorientation. But a more symbolic mode of expression is death and rebirth, which is what baptism represents. The Belly of the Whale continues with the AT&T Invitational. Here we see Happy has brought all his psychological baggage with him.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you stupid cunt.
Kevin Nealon has a great cameo as a new age boomer stereotype who tries to open Happy's chakras, or something.
Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow, Happy. Feel it.
And to be fair, Happy tries.
Time to go home there, Ball.
But he isn't quite there yet.
Son of a bitch, Ball, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
We also get to see a reverse case of the extraordinary world being psychologically reoriented by the hero.
But you know, golf has been waiting for a player like this. I just got a call from the Dallas Open. Their phones have been ringing off the hook with people who want to see Happy. They just sold out.
Already?
This is Virginia Venet, the tour publicist and Happy's love interest. She goes to bat for him, seeing his potential to bring youthful energy into a sport that's known for being boring. She just has to help him adapt. And this is where Happy does undergo a kind of lesser, more superficial psychological reorientation.
I mean, no swearing, no throwing clubs, and especially no hitting other players.
Oh, good. You mean no fun?
He says he'll comply, but it's only because he likes her, and he's afraid of being kicked off the tour. He doesn't see the truth or wisdom in the perspective she tries to share.
All right, I will work on what you call behaving, but I ain't gonna act like a stiff out there.
Fine.
Genuine or not, he's agreed to play by the rules of the extraordinary world, which brings us now to the road of trials. He's repeatedly tempted to act out, but he restrains himself each time. We even get a nice little moment of Happy finding balance on the golf course that he couldn't find on the ice.
Slightly downhill?
In slanting left.
No, it just seems that way because you only got one shoe on.
I owe you my life.
That was as good a way to ford a river as any, but I seem to have lost a sandal in doing it.
I took my skate off and tried to stab somebody. I'm the only guy who ever did that.
That's wonderful.
And yes, his caddy is another surrogate father figure. The sequence culminates with a boss fight, the alligator that ate Chubb's hand. Remember, the default interpretation for any body of water is the subconscious. Happy wrestles with the dragon guarding the golden fleece and emerges victorious where Chubbs did not. Almost halfway through the movie's runtime, he autographs a voluptuous young woman's body, only to do the same for a less voluptuous older woman. Which brings us now into a very Oedipal meeting with the goddess, his date with Virginia. But like we saw in the breakdown of Top Gun, it's only the goddess stage for the B story, the love story subplot. In terms of the A story, we get a kind of placeholder fake-out for meeting with the goddess. Happy calls Grandma and lets her know that he almost has the money. Things are, yes, looking up, but he hasn't actually hit the target yet. But let's talk about the B story for a minute. Happy takes Virginia to a hockey rink, into his psyche, where the lights go out and a love song starts to play.
What? Friends listen to Endless Love in the Dark?
The song is Endless Love, the theme song for a messed up 1981 romantic drama of the same name. This is where the story really doubles down on the Oedipal themes.
The song reminds me of my grandmother.
That's kind of weird.
She took me to see this movie. I got the biggest crush on Brooke Shields.
Really?
Yeah. My grandmother told me I should write her a letter, you know? So I did. And I got a letter back from Brooke like 2 weeks later. But it was in my grandmother's handwriting.
On a literal level, yes, it's all sweet and innocent. But symbolically, Grandma is stepping into the role of a romantic love interest. And for that matter, why the hell was a middle-aged Grandma Gilmore taking an adolescent boy to a movie like Endless Love? I looked into it, and it actually includes a Mrs. Robinson-style subplot in which a middle-aged woman attempts to seduce a teenage boy away from her own teenage daughter, the Brooke Shields character.
I think that night that I came down and saw you with Jade and then made love to my husband. I was making love to you.
Anyway, Happy needs to peel away from this mother figure fixation so he can form a relationship with Virginia. Now, if you remember what I said about Chubbs literally carrying around his baggage, that pays off right here.
Do you always carry a puck around?
Yeah.
Happy carries around the thing that killed his father, and he gives it to Virginia, offering a deal.
If you get that puck in that net over there, I'll never bother you again. But if you miss, you gotta give me a big fat kiss. And you gotta pretend that you like it too.
And Virginia is trying to help him embrace the world of adulthood that golf represents and let go of all the baggage that hockey represents. And there it goes. She makes the shot, but kisses him anyway. Like Top Gun, their relationship is going to just hang out here for the rest of the story. The scene wraps up with the Zamboni driver lip-syncing both the male and female parts of the duet. More gender role ambiguity. Back on the links, Happy's goal remains unchanged. Do better than dead last and he'll have enough money to buy back Grandma's house. Unfortunately for him, the film's villain, Shooter McGavin, has hired a heckler to throw Happy off his game.
You're gonna need a blanket and suntan lotion, because you're never gonna get off that beach. Just the way you never got into the NHL, you jackass.
The heckler is Happy's inner critic, the little devil on your shoulder telling you that you're no good. Where Mr. Larson is a giant, the heckler is small and impish. Now this is where something really interesting happens, structurally speaking. On the surface, this sequence looks like Woman as the Temptress.
You will not make this putt.
It's a complication that occurs after this powerful goddess stage for the B story. His situation deteriorates and he tries to make it work anyway. But in terms of the A story, the road of trials isn't over yet because it hasn't reached a definitive outcome. He either gets the money in time or he doesn't. His partner, Bob Barker, the only stand-in father figure who doesn't have a mustache, loses his patience with Happy's performance and becomes the final boss on Happy's road of trials.
There is no way that you could have been as bad at hockey as you are at golf.
All right, let's go.
Now you've had enough, bitch.
Not only does Happy lose the fight, and that's twice now he's been beaten up by a surrogate father figure, he's suspended from the tour.
Suspended! I gotta play!
Doug, kick him off the tour.
Doug, look, my grandmother's house got repossessed. If I can't make some prize money in the next tournament, they could sell it to somebody else.
Well, whoop-de-doo. Get out.
Now, this looks like atonement with the father, but it actually isn't. This is the result of the road of trials, meeting with the goddess, and the result is failure. This is one of the three main outcomes I describe in my introductory series, and it leads directly to the real Woman as the Temptress stage, wherein our heroes try to deal with this complication. And what they come up with looks like an apotheosis. Virginia has an aha moment that Happy doesn't need to play any more golf to get the money. Now, if you really want to have some fun, let's talk about Subway for a minute. If we go all the way back to the ordinary world, we see that Happy has brought his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend some sandwiches from Subway.
Hey, where you going? I got a Subway.
I already ate.
But she rejects it.
I went to high school with a guy who worked there, so we got extra meatball.
Great, I gotta run. See you later.
But back in the Temptress stage, a little on-the-nose double entendre lets us know that this isn't really about sandwiches.
Let me just sit here and enjoy the one thing that makes me a little bit happy.
Virginia is seeing Happy for who he really is, and she sees the value in that. And if you think that's a stretch, we'll be coming back to that too. Now, with a bit of slick editing, we slide right into what appears to be the ultimate boon sequence, where the hero acquires the real solution to his problem.
That commercial put us up to $275,000. Let's go get your house back.
Oh, Happy.
But it isn't the ultimate boon. It's just a turn for the better during the Temptress stage. Then it's off to buy back Grandma's house with Happy's winnings. This adds Master of the Two Worlds as a secondary note, in that the hero has returned to the ordinary world to apply the boon, or what he thinks is the boon. But it's not Master of the Two Worlds. It's the climax of the Temptress stage, where their apparent victory is turned back into defeat.
So, gentlemen with the white sweater,
Now, losing the house is one thing, but realizing they've lost it to Shooter is what starts the atonement with the father. What makes this atonement interesting is that Happy doesn't even see it as a failure because he hasn't realized yet that he's playing the wrong game. And instead of meeting resistance from the villain, he's offered a way out.
What do you want for it, Shooter?
You know what I want.
Like Esau in Genesis, he's ready to sell his birthright to Joseph for a bowl of soup.
Fine, I quit.
Happy initially agrees to quit golf, to abandon his rite of passage into manhood in exchange for the house, which adds a nice secondary layer of refusal of the return. Just like we saw in the breakdown of The Empire Strikes Back, the hero has been deliberately baited by the villain into ending his journey in the extraordinary world prematurely, so he can pursue a material reward back in the ordinary world. In both cases, it's a supporting character with a more nuanced perspective who objects to the hero's early return.
Patience.
And sacrifice Han and Leia.
If you honor what they fight for, yes.
But unlike Luke Skywalker, Happy actually takes the counsel he's given and is able to avoid losing his hand like his father did. This is Happy's real apotheosis.
I don't belong in this sport. I'm a hockey player.
Oh, really? What team do you play for?
Easy.
Face it, Happy, you are a golfer.
Look, I did this so I could get Grandma's house back. Now I can. No regrets.
What do you think Grandma wants more? To get her house back or to see her grandson succeed?
This is where the story falls back into sync and the real stages stop masquerading as other stages. The storytellers might have done this just to meet audience expectations about how movies usually flow, but it might have been to put us into Happy's shoes. He's not where he thinks he is, and neither are we. It certainly works on that level, but I'm not sure it was intentional. Whatever the case, Happy finally accepts that he's a golfer, and he makes a deal with Shooter.
If I beat you, I get the house back. You beat me, I'll quit.
You're gonna beat me? At golf? Oh, you're on.
Just like Jason and the Argonauts, the usurping uncle wants the son to go after the Golden Fleece because he sees it as a suicide mission.
Be advised by me. First, search for this Golden Fleece. Do not reveal yourself to Pelias.
This takes us into the real Ultimate Boon stage.
Are you ready to get down to business and do exactly what I tell you to do?
Believe me, I'm ready.
Here, Happy circles back to crossing the first threshold and Belly of the Whale as secondary notes. This is one of my favorite sequences from my introductory series, so let's just cut to that now. To save the day, Happy accepts that he needs to learn how to putt, so he and Chubbs head off to a miniature golf course called Happyland. First, Happy has to confront a final threshold guardian, his own shadow.
And Shooter's not about to let his reign at the top be spoiled by some freak sideshow clown.
Yeah! You're gonna die, clown!
Campbell says, that is why the approaches and entrances to temples are flanked and defended by colossal gargoyles. These are the threshold guardians to ward away all incapable of encountering the higher silence within.
Suck, you stupid clown!
Happy confronts the clown, the gargoyle, before arriving at the earthquake hole, where he learns to go to his happy place, to find the higher silence within. Which he does. The final hole is a labyrinth, a violent, twisted maze of his own imbalanced psyche. So now it's the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur.
What? Happy riding a bull?
And right on cue, we find that the boon comes with a terrible price attached to it. Textbook refusal of the return. Grateful for Chubb's guidance, Happy gives him a gift. The severed head of the alligator that ate his hand. Terrified, Chubbs falls out the window and dies. It's a dark and surprising gag, although it was foreshadowed. The point is, it's mythologically correct. When you grow and change, there's an old part of you that dies. It's partially about reliving the death of his father, yes, but it's more about the trauma of surpassing the father. At the memorial, we see that Happy's psychological focus is shifting. He's still trying to save the house, and he has one more battle to fight with the man-child within, but now he's trying to bring forth the spirit of the father.
To hell with that, I'm playing for Chubbs.
With all this groundwork laid, the magic flight begins.
Happy learned how to putt.
It's all going well until he's hit by the heckler in a Volkswagen, who, remember, is the inner critic. A tiny man in a tiny car. Happy tries to go to his happy place, but it's been invaded by the tyrannical father, a usurping uncle in the tradition of Set, Peleus, and Scar. He makes out with Virginia and Grandma, not just because it's funny, but to reinforce the Oedipal themes. And of course, Gene Simmons, or should I say, the demon, makes a final appearance. But Happy's rescue from without begins when Grandma comes to visit and releases him from the obligation to remain her child.
I just want you to be happy, darling.
Now, Happy is able to go to his happy place one last time, and this time Chubbs is there, made whole in the afterlife. But the heckler, the inner critic, has created another labyrinth on the final green, and Happy must find his way through it. Like Luke Skywalker in Maverick, he trusts the spirit of the father to guide him and takes the shot.
Chubbs, I know you're gonna help me with this one.
And with a little help from Subway, he makes it.
Oh my God!
Which kind of makes Happy Gilmore into Theseus and Virginia into Ariadne, who gives him the clue he needs to find his way out of the maze. Now it's time to take the boon, which has shifted from the money to the gold jacket, back to the ordinary world and put it to use. I debated whether or not to put crossing the return threshold on the golden path because the problem seems so slight and the solution so simple, but I'm gonna do it. The problem is that Shooter tries to steal the boon, the gold jacket, and pull it deeper into the extraordinary world. The problem is solved when he's chased down by a pack of Happy's fans, led by Mr. Larson, now all healed up. We dissolve into the final scene, where we get to see Happy as master of the two worlds, wearing the gold jacket recovered from Shooter in front of Grandma's house. His caddy, the homeless man, is now dressed like a yacht captain or something. Freedom to live is condensed into just a couple of beats. The spirit of Chubbs appears in the sky over Grandma's house, along with the alligator. And if you look closely, the alligator has had his eye returned to him. And finally, there's Abraham Lincoln, rounding out the picture because, it's funny. I'm sure it has nothing to do with redeeming the spirit of the father from the underworld. So that's Happy Gilmore. What else can I say? I don't know what they did on purpose. I think artists do some of this stuff intentionally and trust the rest to their creative instincts. And when you can apply just the right amount of conscious intent, then fill in the rest with what just feels right, or in this case, funny, then all this Jungian symbolism just boils up from the collective unconscious. Dragons, labyrinths, dismemberment, and Subway. If you got something out of this video, I hope you'll like, comment, share, and subscribe. This was the 17 Stages of Story in Happy Gilmore. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.